Hello everyone, Delaney Stables Live here presenting to you today on the Sport of TREC. Today we'll do a brief general introduction. Big thank you to the many photographers in China that let us use these photos to develop the Sport of TREC in the United States. Rah rah, big shout out. TREC is a three-phase competition with the cornerstone phase being orienteering. Orienteering is when you partner with your horse to go across the country using the skill sets you've developed, reading a route off topographic map, and having a compass and a watch to help assist you. The two supporting phases are obstacles, which is any obstacle that you might encounter while you're out orienteering with your horse, and control of paces, which develops the subtle skill set you need to have clear communication about the pace you'd like to set while you're going across the country. At the national levels, there are 4 levels of competition. The lower levels have courses that are shorter with less demanding speeds, more appropriate routes and obstacles for developing skill sets and having fun. These levels are great for beginners, green horses, or more casual riders. Often at this level, in the orienteering phase, riders are allowed to go out in pairs or in groups to help keep the excitement going. Whereas when you get up into the 3rd and 4th level, orienteering and obstacle phases become more challenging in both distances and speeds. They require greater skills and fitness levels to compete, and competitors do go out as individuals. The scoring definitely weighs the orienteering phase, the cornerstone phase, the most, with 240 points. There are 2 sections to the control of paces phase, each of which you can accumulate 30 points for a total of 60. And the obstacle phase has 16 obstacles where you can score up to 10 points each for a total of 160 points. The maximum total score is 460 points. Some really cool things about this sport is that you can ride any discipline, English, Western, endurance, totally up to you. You can change attack in between phases, so if you want to go out in endurance for orienteering and ride in an English saddle for obstacles, you'll be more than welcome to do that. In the obstacle phase, you can go around an obstacle as long as you stop and get permission from the judge without being eliminated from the phase. You can compete around the world or stay near home. And this is a complete cross-training program that includes in-hand work that in this northeast part of the United States is a lot of fun to do in our wintertime months. So all the phases are a lot of fun and keep you active and learning new things with your horse year-round. The competitor's outfit for the orienteering phase is free choice, but it must be appropriate. For obstacles and control of paces, they want the rider's shoulders covered, and either for you to be in tall riding boots or boots with half chaps. If you don't dress appropriately, the organizer or the ground jury may not allow you to go out, so make sure that you have good fitting equipment and appropriate clothing. The wearing of an approved safety helmet is mandatory when mounted while on event grounds, and all competitors must wear number vests provided by the organizer. Bridle numbers might also be required depending on the competition. Tack and equipment. A saddle is mandatory, but it can be any style, and bareback pads are not permitted. Headgear is also mandatory, but it can be a bridle or a head collar, and the bit is rider's choice. The only training aid permitted is a running martingale. And if you carry a crop or a whip, it cannot be more than 75 centimeters in the COP phase. Orienteering is done with a map, compass, and a watch. At the national levels, the orienteering phase is a timed exercise that has a planned route over varying terrain. At the lower levels, as already stated, the competitors might go out in a small group or paired up, but they could also be given a pre-printed map by the organizer. At the higher levels, the competitors will go out individually, but they'll have to transpose their route from an original map with a route in a map room just before the phase starts onto a topographic map that the organizer will provide. So the course considers the terrain and the level of the competition. The scoring can be negative in this phase, but doesn't matter because you're not eliminated if you get less than 0, up to 240 points. The distance is from 5 to 50 kilometers, and the time will be set according to the terrain you'll be traveling over and the level of the competition. So at level 1, distances can be between 5 and 12 kilometers. The map skills are based mostly on clear landmarks, and the pace will be designed for fun, rider safety, and developing fitness and control. Level 2, the distances are between 12 kilometers and 20 kilometers, and it starts introducing little challenges using landmarks or contour lines on your topo map. Introduces a little bit of compass use. The pace is moderate, and the distance is a minor factor. Level 3, you're getting up to more distance between 20 kilometers and 35 kilometers. Your compass skills are needed, and you need to start being able to read the terrain and the topo map. The pace will vary more, and pace and distance start to become key factors. In level 4, the distances are between 35 and 50 kilometers, and you have to have mastered your compass skills and reading your topo map. And there could be some more experienced tests that come up during the orienteering phase. The pace will vary quite a bit, and the pace and distance calculations will become critical tools to knowing if you're on track. A lot of this information can be found at www.trec-usa.org. So, on to the obstacle phase. The obstacle phase is also a timed exercise that has a planned route, but this route is disclosed before the start of the phase. The distance, optimum time, and time allowed will be clearly posted at the beginning of the phase. The speed of the course will average between 9 and 12 kilometers per hour, depending on the obstacles. Each type of obstacle can be used only once throughout the course, and the riders are allowed to walk the course without their horses at permitted times. So the course will have 16 obstacles, and this will be out of the 36 obstacles that are the organizers allowed to choose from, and that will depend on the terrain and the level of the competition. The scoring is 0 to 10 per obstacle for up to 160 points for the course. The distance is from 1 to 5 kilometers at the national levels, and the time will be set according to the obstacles, terrain, and level of competition. So at level 1, the course will be inviting with easy distances and routes, plenty of time to get through, and if there are any jumping efforts, they'll be no more than 2 feet high. At level 2, the course will become slightly more challenging with still a reasonable amount of time allowed, and again, jumping efforts will be no more than 2 feet 6 inches. At level 3, things start to get a little bit more challenging with the course design as combinations happen, combined obstacles happen, and tighter routes happening. The time allowed becomes a consideration, and the maximum jumping effort can be up to 3 feet. At level 4, the course design is difficult with challenging combinations and routes. Time is definitely a factor, and jumping efforts can be up to 3 feet 6 inches or 1.1 meters. The types of obstacles include gate obstacles, style obstacles, timed obstacles, and any of these can be done in hand. A gate obstacle rewards faster, consistent speeds. Any break in the gate while performing the obstacle will be scored according to the slowest gate performed. Gate obstacles include things like the corridor, the low branches, the one-handed figure 8, or the slalom. Style obstacles reward the horse and rider team that executes an ideal performance. They can be divided further into jumping, slope, and precision. So a style obstacle that would be a jumping obstacle could be a log, a ditch, or a hedge, whereas the slope obstacles might include inclines up or down and staircases up or down. Precision would be through water, an S-bend, or a footbridge. Timed obstacles reward proper execution within a time frame and include things like mounting or immobility. Again, many of the obstacles can be done in hand. They're gate obstacles, style obstacles, or timed obstacles. But in order to accumulate the most points with these in-hand obstacles, the horse must remain behind the handler on a loose rein. And this is what that looks like. This is a horse and rider going through the corridor. On to control of paces. Control of paces is a timed exercise through a 2-meter wide marked corridor, 150 meters in length. There are 2 sections to this phase. The slow canter is first, the fast walk is second. The start and finish lines are clearly marked with red on right, white on left, and there is a start line timer, might be a finish line timer depending on the method used. There are 5 judges spaced down this corridor on alternating sides. If a penalty happens, at least 2 judges must see it for it to be recorded as a penalty. That concludes this brief introduction to the general sport of trek this evening. Again, a big thank you to those Chinese photographers. You're welcome to check Delaney Stables out at delaneystables.com or send me an email at delaneystables@gmail.com.